All right, thank you so much. Here the program still this morning on ITV on independent television. We're going to be looking at the removal of the fuel subsidy as one of our major topics on our discussion segment this morning. Well, you will recall that the whole issue of the fuel subsidy started way back, to be precise, sometime in August last year, when the federal government hinted that by February this year, that the federal government will be removing the fuel subsidy. Well, as we speak now, all that is not anymore. But what seems to be something that people are looking at it, they are saying that the whole move is political. So perhaps that may just be something that we will start discussing from this morning. Well, to look at all this morning, we are so privileged to have Dr. Barrister Awo Saige. Barrister, you're welcome to this program.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And also, too, we have Mr. Frank Ehiosu, who is an author of many books and a public affairs analyst. Mr. Frank, you're welcome to this program this morning. It's been quite some time on this show with you. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, gentlemen, the fuel subsidy removal, there's no doubt that Nigerians are happy about it. But how do we want to start describing our own immediate reaction to the whole story, the fuel subsidy removal, the petroleum industry bill, and of course how the federal government has told us that, look, we need to keep this at bay first. As we speak now, the petroleum industry bill has not even been amended to accommodate the fuel subsidy. I'll start with Barrister Awo Saige.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, it's a welcome development for now. We'll applaud the federal government for the U-turn, like it says now that they have said we're going to suspend it for, a year and a half or thereabouts. We will say it's a good idea and it's a right way to think, because the pain of removing it and the hiking of the petrol or the poor price will be biting hard on the people. So if we look at it from that angle, we'll say, well, it's a good one. But again, we look at over time, we've had subsidy removal, back and forth, talk here and there. I ever remember when President Buhari came on board, before he became president, then he was saying, he doesn't know, rather, he don't know what fuel subsidy is all about. He needed somebody to enlighten him on what that is. That's talk. We keep talking about it. I don't really want to dwell too much on, what do we really mean by this so-called subsidy? Subsidizing to import petrol when we have the crude here. Why is our refineries not working? We have the modular refinery, we have locally made refineries, and we have those we consider them saboteurs of sorts, having their ways of doing this thing. Why can't we, give license to some local folks that could do this and bring some experts to join folks with them and train them? You really don't have much. I think we keep paying so much to some very trivial matters. I think these are things, there's no rocket science, it's what can be done. It's just like we keep talking back and forth, and that's why I want to believe there's a lot of political undertone in it, because the fuel subsidy has become one, issue back and forth. When it's time for election, you see the cry, oh, we're subsidizing so much money, and we don't know why we cannot make our refineries work. I think that's a major...
Okay. All right, Mr. Frank Ehiosu, the federal government will always make their move, and of course, people will always react just the way we are reacting here. But let's look at this whole thing more critical. Is there any political undertone, to what is playing out between the NLC, between the Nigerian general public, and of course the federal government saying that, okay, we suspend the fuel subsidy removal till about 18 months' time? Because in the first place, by that 18 months' time, we'll be in another administration. Exactly. So do you see any political undertone that seems to be building up as the whole story evolves?
I think it's not whether there's any political undertone. The only thing here is political undertone. The only reason for the suspension is politics. Now, look at it from the standpoint of the usual rigmarole, up and down, and the system replete with uncertainty, as it has been the pattern in Nigeria. It's not the same administration that was so excited last year, barely 7 or 8 months ago, in pursuit of the PIA. It was a bill in view, and even when the president had issues with the bill, he signed it into law and sent it back for certain portions to be adjusted or to be amended. With that excitement, he signed the budget last year before we entered the new year.
Exactly.
In signing the budget, he did it with excitement, with vigor, and made provision for subsidy till June, so that no matter what, subsidy would be history from July. So, government is supposed to be a platform that accommodates all the components of critical thinking. Because any decision you take at that level affects people in their millions, and sometimes the consequences cannot be reversed. So there is no other reason for this than politics. Unfortunately, it is a case of sustenance of false hope. Look, the tears we are avoiding is it's just a case of postponing the evil day. If you want to put subsidy on the platform properly, why did he remove subsidy before? Before Jonathan left power, in the twilight of 2014, he reduced fuel by 10 naira, from 97 naira per litre to 87 naira per litre. When Buhari took over May 29, 2015, he made fuel at 87 naira per litre. I still remember his broadcasts. I remember the speeches that were given on that note, where he said subsidy had to be removed. It was subsidy, they called it. And he increased fuel from 87 naira, almost a 100% increase, to 145 naira. Nigerians seem to have forgotten that. Because of his popularity at that point in time, people just took it that, okay, we are coming from a part where we were so tired, and this is supposed to be a new breath. Let's give this guy a chance. So for such sudden increase, they call this subsidy removal. But look at where the folly lied. The government removed subsidy, in quotes, in her stupidity, by increasing the price of fuel to the contemporary price as it pertains to international benchmark. But they did not deregulate the downstream sector. So for the first 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 2015, things were going on normal. We lapsed into 2016. It was then that it was realized that you remove subsidy in terms of balancing the price with international benchmark. But you did not regulate the sector that ensures that there is normalcy in terms of how pricing goes on. So you can see that what we are going through right now is that we are paying for the incompetence of government. In 2015, when we removed it, what was the price of naira to dollar? It was within the range of barely about 200 naira. It was less than 200 naira to a dollar. So I imagine that if as at that time, with that popularity, he had deregulated the downstream sector, given vigor to the PIA that he now gave attention to so belatedly. If that were done as at that time, by now Nigeria would have been swimming in the pool of normalcy and abundance as far as these things are concerned. But Nigerian government, as usual, would always do whatever they like because there is impunity and there is no consequence. That is what's brought us to where we are.
Okay.
Now, do you know another funny part of the story? You know, subsidy in history dates back to the early 70s.
Yeah.
When the world at large had the first shocker in terms of the oil market having a bash it did not anticipate. So it was introduced in bits, it went on, but there wasn't much consequence. As at that time, our refineries could produce not just refined product, we export refined product. So it went on and on and on. But see where we are today. Turnaround maintenance of these refineries we call the 4 refineries in quote, Kaduna, Warri, and the 2 in Port Harcourt, has cost the country about $26.5 billion. And on, this turnaround maintenance were done. The more they maintained it, the less the performance of the refineries. Something happened in 2007. I don't like Obasanjo for so many reasons. But I just want to situate the story of this oil sector. In 2007, before he left, I haven't spent so much in turnaround maintenance between 1999 and 2007. The guy was bothered. Unfortunately, nobody was held to account over the money spent on turnaround maintenance, and the maintenance did not yield effect. In a business transaction, people that do contracts, there are normally provisions you sign. If you are given a job to do, if the job does not yield the requisite result, there's consequence. That is why payment is even segmented. They give you maybe 25%. As job progresses, experts from relevant agencies come to certify the capacity before you are giving more money. Even when you complete the job, there's what they call retention. Keep it so that in case there are shortcomings in job expected. So how could the government spend taxpayers money in hundreds of billions in turnaround maintenance and nobody's help account? We all know the story. It's a Nigerian factor. Impunity. Obasanjo could not possibly arrest anybody because somewhere, somehow, the monies come back to them.
I think that's what the PIB, is going to address. The problem most times...
No, I'm going somewhere. Just let me land on this standpoint.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, I said there's something he did that I like, even if I don't like too many things about him. He couldn't hold anybody to account in terms of how our monies were wasted on total maintenance. So he now gave up. He tried to sell the refineries. He couldn't quite get buyers. He now made an arrangement where they now sold stakes. In 2007, he sold 51% stakes. Nigeria still retained 49%. In just two of the four refineries, Port Harcourt and Kaduna. Kaduna was for $160 million. Port Harcourt was for $561 million. The Chinese Petroleum Corporation came to bid for it, but they bid for much less. For the Kaduna refinery, for example, they bid for $102 million. Dangote, Otedola, Rivers State Government, and Transcorp, they came together. Dangote was the lead person because he had 55% stakes. They called the consortium Blue Star, and they won the bids. They brought over those two refineries. Now, see the shameful tale. These two were sold for a total sum of $721 million. Obasanjo handed over power to Yar'Adua. When Yar'Adua came in, he gave an interview to the Financial Times and some other folks that was going to reverse it. When he gave that interview, Dangote and his consortium opted to pull out.
Anyway, just go
See
on.
where we are today.
Yeah.
Now, as at that time, a dollar was about 120 naira to a dollar. Just one of those two refineries today, Nigerian government paid them back their money, the $721 million. They would have had 51% stakes, and by today, I'm sure we would have been exporting refined product. The only functional oil sector business that Nigeria is thriving or benefiting from is LNG. It's that same format. In LNG, Nigerian government has less than 50% stakes. The major marketers, the major stakeholders have about 51% stakes. That is why you see that money is coming from there on and on and on since it was set up.
Anyway, Mr. Frankie here, so just like what I said, that the PIB bill, that's the Petroleum Industry Bill, as we speak now, it has been, accepted to by the president. So I guess all that will be addressed under the PIB. But there's something that I also want us to look at, because when issues like this happens, we begin to look at it the way it affect the people. Now, as we speak now, most Nigerians are kind of asking. Now, there's a story that says 18 months' time, why some says indefinitely and all that. So, Barrister Osage, how do you react to this seeming attitude of government not actually coming out to the people to tell the people the truth and the way things are really?
My brother Frank already established that incompetence of government, and that's what it is. We can't shy away from the fact that it's like you don't know what you are doing and you're just buying time to walk away when the time is right. 18 months, like we all know, this present administration would have handed over, or rather to another administration. Yeah. So what are we talking about? So it's just a way of just keep the ball rolling and let's see how we can play around and then walk away. I think that's very unfair, and that's very, 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 very unreasonable on their part. I think that's basically what is playing out. And now, we're looking at it now. Nigerians, you hear one thing in the morning, in the afternoon, something else is coming out. This petroleum minister of state, in the person of, what's his name again? Timi Priscilla. You heard what he was saying. He was not even giving specifics. He was just talking that way. We are hoping, it's like you are still in anticipation. You don't have, for a minister of sorts to come up to start saying modular refineries and all whatnot. He was not specific about what he was saying. And he said they will not throw it to the House of Assembly, will throw it to them, and then they will not decide whether they would sustain or bet. They are proposing that 18 months time and all of that they're going to. So all of this put together, it boils down to one thing. One, incompetence and to lack of patriotism. You don't really care about those you're leading, and that's what it is. We can't wish or we can't shy away from it. We can look at the way things have been going on, and people are already crying, complaining now. Now you want to increase their pain. Yes, obviously it's going to come. There's no way it will not come. But they are trying to shy away having wasted so much time, having them, not done the needful over time. We keep talking about somebody elected in office, and at the end you say, well, he's trying. We didn't let you to come and try. You said you have the answer. We know what they said in their campaign times. This is what we're going to do, and Nigeria have not changed still. So in all, what we are saying, or what I'm saying here, is that the governments know exactly what they're doing, and they're just buying time.
Okay. Now,
buying time.
All right. Frank here, so you talked about international benchmark for fair price a while ago. Now, let's take our mind back to the Honorable Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, at the time when he said that Nigerians probably buy the cheapest fuel in the world. Maybe he was making recourse to the way pump price is in the US, in Canada, Now, because I think at times you are tempted to also want to think along that line. Don't you think that Nigerians somehow, they also don't take the pain to really see what is obtainable internationally?
See, what Lai Mohammed said is an unfortunate assertion. I guess he wanted to talk about...
but is it a reality?
It's not true. Till date, there's still so much subsidy for oil in a number of countries.
No, we're talking about the pump price now in field. Let's stay in America. We understand that.
I'm not talking about America. America does not subsidize fuel. They subsidize the number of other products. See, subsidy is practiced the world over. The challenge we have in Nigeria is not subsidy. The challenge we have is subsidy management. In the affairs of men, subsidy is always an option that government resorts to, targeted at specifics. With timelines, subsidies are never permanent. They are normally temporary. There are different types of subsidy.
But
so,
the
problem in Nigeria, see my point.
Yeah.
The problem in Nigeria is not the subsidy. It's the management and the managers of the subsidy. That is the issue in question. So if you say our price compared to the US, why do you compare with Saudi Arabia? Why not compare with Venezuela or compare with some other countries? There are a number of countries that subsidize their fuel production. I mean, to the extent. Yeah. Now, coming to the government, like I talked about government incompetence. The reason why they said there's so much smuggling and it's not being taken out, so there's a setback because the bulk of what we pay for in terms of subsidy, folks in these neighboring countries benefit from it. Who is responsible for managing the borders? In a functional country, Saudi Arabia since 2005, when the new guy, the king in waiting, when he came in, took over, he brought up some reforms. The reforms are targeted at reducing subsidy because generally, like I said, subsidy is not permanent. No matter how beautiful it is, it's normally sector targeted temporarily to meet specific needs. If that need is met, attention is diverted to other areas of focus. So in Saudi Arabia, they've been doing it incrementally in bits. When at some point they saw that people were complaining, they made provision for social safety nets, but they say ensure subsidy. They say enjoy subsidy. That's why I said the price that Lai talked about is not comparative. You compare it, if you want to compare it with US, it will be very unfair. You have to compare it with other nations at large.
But it would take like major countries in the world, take US, Canada, and maybe the UK. Nigeria is about the cheapest.
No, it's not the cheapest. If you want to compare with those countries, you must put other factors in view.
Exactly.
If you go to the UK, you don't need a car to go around. It's even more convenient for you to use public transport because things are working. There are a number of things that make things go on there that we don't have here, so you can't be comparing us with them.
That's correct.
That is the truth. Now, I say that the incompetence of government. Now, Saudi Arabia, in making resorts to such reforms, is not because of smuggling. Because the government is competent. They don't smuggle their product to other countries. So they are going back because, yes, the focus of that subsidy is being achieved to a large extent. They want to have the emphasis that they put in the number of subsidy or review is to extend that they want to make consumption efficient. Because they feel that because it's so cheap, so cheap, the citizens, it seems as if they just play with fuel, use it for whatever crap, on and on and on. So not smuggling like the case of Nigeria, which pertains to incompetence of government. Fuel is not taken across borders in jerrycans. They must take them in massive vehicles. And we are supposed to have people that man such sectors. So the problem we have with this subsidy is the problem we have with government generally in Nigeria, where government fails in its capacity to perform its function. Rather than address that incapacity, you begin to look for escape routes, but that incompetence will always find expression in other ways. That is the truth. It's just like what we say in this country, government has no business in business. That slogan is popularized more in Nigeria than other climes. Go to the UK, go to the Western world, even not just go to Ghana, go to smaller countries in West Africa, and you see that things are functional. There's normalcy in systems. Is it not the same government? But in Nigeria, because government is dysfunctional, they now say government has no business in business. So the incompetence of government in managing business, unfortunately, will still manifest in governments playing the regulatory role because it's the same people that will play the role of regulation. So when you don't address the shortcomings in terms of cutting down impunity and ensuring that the law is supreme, whatever area you leave to the private sector, the area that government will still play its role, that incompetence will still be clearly manifest.
Okay. Now, there's no way we can actually, not refer this whole fuel subsidy removal to the 2023 presidential election. Now, Barrister Wosaige, with the status quo now, do you see the possibility of the present administration trying to count on its gains as it relates to the 2023 presidential election? Because I just wanted to react to that.
Well, it's always funny when you find some of them coming up to talk about how their achievements, and it's so funny and so funny and shameless, because I believe leadership should be sacrosanct, and it should be by example. You see leaders coming up to say, well...
Yeah, but for a leadership that listens to the hues and cries of the people,
yes,
you may want to give it to that leadership. I mean, this administration has listened.
Listen in what
to
sense?
the hues and cries of the people.
In what sense?
We don't need fuel subsidy at this time.
And is that what we're talking about?
Of course, they are saying, okay, let's keep it at abeyance.
I don't know where they feel maybe the collective intelligence of Nigerians could be undermined in such ways. It doesn't really add up. Say they listen. I don't understand when you say listening, when striking workers back and forth, and we have broken down facilities everywhere. We have been shamed everywhere when we travel out of the country. We are called names, and then what kind of, it doesn't add up. We shouldn't just try to be economical with the truth in that sense. They don't listen, and they just act as though they are listening. It's not because of election we are talking about they are not listening. Very soon you start seeing high government confessionary going to local farmers to kneel down to present fertilizer and join them in frying corn or roasting corn by the roadside, only the name that we are your son, we have come. It's because of the election. So this listening talk you are bringing up now is because election 2023 is around the corner, and everybody is now a saint. Nobody is ranting anymore. Nobody is saying, I will deal with you.
Everybody is listening to the people
Everybody
now.
is listening to the people now. So we know what that means. It's all a deception, and the Nigerians should wake up and should know what they want for themselves. Because like I will always say, the challenge some of us are having is not whether we will be able to eat or live on, but we feel we owe our people. I have known Frank also for so many years, and he has been like this all the while. He has been advocating for people like this, has been trying to enlighten people, make people understand. So the truth is that Nigerians should wake up. We should really address this issue. We should come out, even in our electoral processes, whether not, we are not campaigning for any political party per se, but we are trying to say, just understand who is really coming up. There are people that are not competent, that want to take up political offices. You just talk about because you are one person, you've been in power before. If you don't have the wherewithal, you cannot. You don't know what to do, you can be there. Like, I'm sorry, with all respect to Lai Mohammed, I'm shocked. At times, I ask myself, is it him that really, this statement credited to him?
That
or
may
perhaps,
be your opinion.
Maybe, what I'm saying,
yeah.
Trying to say Nigeria, they've done so well, and I will be wondering how. I have not seen that around here. So it's unfortunate. We shouldn't play politics with the lives of people. Also, we'll soon warm up on the next round of strike and a whole lot of things. Power sector is a mess, everything a mess in the country. And then we are talking about, we are trying, we have done so well. We want to win again, we want to contest election. Okay. In short, they should resign, in my opinion. They shouldn't even wait. They should all resign and apologize to Nigerians and go to their various mosques and churches for repentance for what they have done. Because for me, they have told the whole world. I'm taken aback when I see the likes of, with all respect to him, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, wanting to go. You know what you said. These are things that we can read. Even if I'm not schooled, forget about education now. At least I heard you said you will do this. 6 months, when Jonathan is out, this is what you're going to do. We're not campaigning for Jonathan or anybody. You have been given. Now they are still fighting with the previous administration at 11th hour. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Now,
so
Frankie here, so there's no doubt that it seems the government is really having issues with oil exploration in the country. Now, let's look at the Petroleum Industry Bill Act that has been passed into law. I was listening to the Honorable Minister for State for Petroleum, Timide Presiva. He talked about how that the greatest problem that the oil sector has is the inability for government to manage oil pipelines, you know, and that seems to be one of the major things that the PIB bill is going to, you know, remedy. Because you have these oil pipelines, you know, being broken by vandals and all that. But let's look at what do you think is the responsibility or responsibilities of Nigerians in helping the government of the day so that the PIB can really be a bill that can really fix oil exploration in our country?
Unfortunately, I don't like that question. No, let me tell you my reason.
Yeah.
When you say how would the Nigerians help the government, it makes it seem as if the government is handicapped and they are looking for Nigerians to come to the rescue.
Having it in mind that whether I like it or not, Nigerians have a role to play. Say, for example, situations whereby pipelines, Nigerians break pipelines to get crude oil and all that.
No. Let's situate this narrative. This is a case of pretension by government. Do they need Nigerians? Government in Nigeria is driven by arrogance and impunity. If Nigerians were of value in the equation of the emergence of government, what we are going through today would not have been happening. Even the elections we do in this country, unfortunately, it may seem like we are the ones that choose our leaders. But the system is so twisted that even when we make choices, we are compelled within a certain purview to, we are marginalized to make the choices. So whether we like it or not, we choose what we trying to choose to sustain the system that a few people want to maintain. There was an interview that this guy gave Arise News about 2 weeks ago, Dele Momodu, where he talked about his support for Olufalaye in 1999. In 1998, he traveled to Dubai to meet with the late Ukman Dewan, because he said, okay, this is one of the core northerners to support the candidacy of Olufalaye. When he got to the guy, and he told Lukman that he wants him to be one of they look up to him to anchor, to support. Look, see what Lukman told him that amazed folks that watched the interview. That is a great concept, but that Olufalaye cannot make it. That those who decide the power,
choice, yeah,
they didn't. So Olufalaye was not chosen. That is so and so person that has been chosen. Primaries are not even taking place quite. Now, the guy mentioned it, and the guy mentioned the name of the people who determine who rules Nigeria. A number of them are still alive. It was on TV.
Are you trying to say that our elections don't? But we've had elections in this country that people actually voted. Is that what you're saying?
When the election did count, the people's voice have a finality in terms of what was done. In 1993, for example, when the people actually came out, because the military did not anticipate what happened. Open secret ballot, option A4 system, where people just voted their choice. And the surprise came in a way that was unanticipated. Did people's choice count? The system is skewed. Let me tell you free of charge. In Nigeria, if you want to tag different factors that ensure or that guarantee the emergence of people in politics or in election, the voting component in reality, even when it's supposed to be the most important, I cannot give it 40%. See, security, those are controlled different institutions, the powers that be. In fact, incumbency even seem to have more quotient than the people's vote itself.
All right, so are you saying in essence that the citizens, they don't have a responsibility, a role in making some of
they do. See, citizens have a responsibility. In human history, man by nature is a rebel. That even defines the origin of government, first of all. But for the fact that there needs to be some sense of order, conforming to certain rules to ensure continuity of the communal setting, the collective. That's why our government came about. So people have a role to play, but government can only make it a lot better. But unfortunately, in this part of the world, government undermines the people. And when government undermines the people, it gives room for that sense of rebellion to give expression in several ways. Some of the stuff you see that takes place, bandits, kidnappers everywhere, these are all symptoms of the people showing their dissatisfaction and rebellion against the system. That is the truth. In the president's own state today, I was watching an interview a few days ago on TVC, anchored by Babajide Kolade Otitoju, where he said that about, even the governor of the state has confirmed it, where about 10 local governments are seemingly under the control of a bandit. Citizens in the president's own state pay taxes to bandits to be able to go to the market and go about their livelihood. Is that a functional nation state? So we cannot be beating government with hand gloves and praising them when we are messed up by their pattern. If government were accountable, if the people were really supreme, and the law were where it ought to be, what we're experiencing will not be the case. That is the truth.
Okay. Well, we'll just see how it goes, and we'll just hope that Nigerians will be able to understand the real situation so that when the election comes, they can really make their choices.
But on the PIA, you know, we are talking about 18 months suspension.
Yeah, suspension.
It's 2023 election that was just the consideration. If you go and watch their tapes, you'll be wondering, are these guys okay? 3 weeks, 1 month, 4 months ago, you see the vitality, the excitement with which they are making projections. All of a sudden. Now, do you know, if I were an investor coming from a different client, I can't come and invest my money in such a country. Even with PIA, where we thought that there's no stability and sense of direction in the oil sector, PIA itself has been suspended, even when it has been signed into law.